They told me there wouldn't be enough space for me on the family boat cruise again. No extra cabin, they said. Hope you understand. That was the message, short and sharp like always. But what really burned was what came next. They'd invited 135 people. All my siblings, their spouses, their kids, cousins I barely remembered, old family friends, even business partners I'd never met, everyone except me. You'd think I'd be used to it by now, right? But this year something shifted. I didn't just feel hurt, I felt done. For anyone who's ever been the forgotten one in your family, stick with me. This story might sound all too familiar, but how it ends, you won't see it coming. See, our family has this big tradition, the Chesapeake Bay Cruise. It started with my grandparents, Walter and Lorraine, back in the 70s. They honeymooned there, fell in love with the bay, and eventually bought this massive 110-foot yacht. From the time I was 7, every summer we'd pile onto that boat, my siblings and I leaping into the water, Grandma cooking crab boils in the galley, Grandpa watching with his proud, quiet smile. That yacht was more than a boat, it was our family's heartbeat. And even back then, I was the odd one. I didn't want to play pirates or splash around, I wanted to draw. Birds, boats, the shimmer of water, anything that caught my eye. Grandpa was the first to notice. You see the world differently, Naomi, he used to say, handing me sketchbooks like they were sacred scrolls. Your art matters. He believed in me, even when nobody else did. But he and Grandma passed when I was in college, and everything changed. My parents inherited the yacht, and suddenly those cruises weren't about family anymore. They became networking events, my dad stuffing the boat with investors, my mom hosting fancy donors. It wasn't about love, it was about status. I worked hard to build something real, a creative agency that now serves major brands, artists, public figures. But to my parents, I was just the artsy one, the one who never married, never had kids, didn't buy into the corporate dream. My dad once said, "Artists don't pay mortgages," like I was some irresponsible teenager, not a full-grown woman running a thriving business. For years ago, they first forgot to invite me. Claimed it was just for immediate family. But the pictures showed otherwise, cousins, college buddies, even neighbors on board. When I asked my sister Danielle, she shrugged. They figured you were busy with clients. Sure. Year after year, it was the same. Some excuse, some lie, another set of photos proving they'd rather fill the boat with strangers than make room for me. I told myself I didn't care. Bury myself in work. But deep down, it hurt more every time. This year broke something open. I was on Instagram when I saw it. My brother Terrence had posted a cruise itinerary. I zoomed in there, it was in bold. 135 confirmed guests. Every activity listed. Every name included except mine. They even chartered a second yacht. A second yacht. And still not a single cabin for me. I sat there for hours, staring out my window, memories crashing over me like waves. The national art competition I'd won in college, they skipped the ceremony. The Christmas where everyone got personalized gifts, I got a $25 gift card. Family photos that were always cropped just right so I could be edited out. It wasn't subtle. It was loud. I didn't belong. That night, I called my best friend Chantel. I could barely speak. They did it again. I whispered. 135 people. And not me. She didn't hesitate. Naomi, it's not about space. It never was. You didn't become what they wanted, and they can't handle that. I knew she was right. I'd known it for years. At 3 a.m., something in me snapped awake. I wasn't going to cry about it anymore. I called Danielle, asked her directly if she knew I hadn't been invited. She stammered, danced around the truth. They figured you wouldn't be interested. Always assuming. Always excusing. I hung up without another word. And then the idea came, not a reaction, but a creation. I wouldn't ask for a seat on their boat. I'd build my own. By morning, it was clear I'd host my own cruise. Not out of spite, but to finally honor who I am. I called my old art professor, Dolores Freeman. I just don't want this to be a bitter response, I told her. She smiled, eyes shining through her oversized purple glasses. Naomi, you're an artist. Artists don't fight, they create. So I did. I found a yacht, the Serenity Queen, a stunning 90-foot vessel with 6 guest suites and a full crew. Price tag? $85,000 for the week. That was my house deposit, but suddenly this felt more important. This was an expense. This was liberation. I looped in my friend Jada, an event planner I'd branded a few years back. Let's make this something real, I told her. Not just a cruise. A creative sanctuary. A place of joy. We mapped out every detail: yoga at sunrise, storytelling under the stars, cooking classes in the galley, photography workshops as we passed lighthouses. I named it the Freedom Voyage. I invited 24 people, friends, clients turned confidants, fellow creatives. Even Marcus and Heather, the only siblings who'd ever quietly supported me. And as the RSVPs rolled in, I felt a weight lift. These people saw me, not for who I should be, but for who I am. 3 weeks later, we set sail. The boat was full of laughter, music, soulful meals by our chef Monique, late-night talks under string lights. I gave a toast that first night, to new traditions, to healing where we weren't welcomed. By day 2, the text started. Marcus, looks like you made your own cruise. Danielle, why didn't you tell us? Mom's confused. Day 3, my mother called and called. I ignored them all, not out of spite, out of peace. I wasn't giving them power this time. Then something unexpected happened. We docked in a small coastal town, and there she was, Aunt Ruthie, my grandma's sister. She'd seen the photos and made her way there. Now this, she said, hugging me tight. This is the cruise I should be on. We sipped tea under the stars that night, and she said something I'll never forget. They never understood your gift, Naomi, but you never stopped honoring it. That's what makes you different. When I finally answered my parents' call, I didn't yell. I just told the truth. You had space for 135 people and still didn't make space for me. Silence. Then my father said, we need to talk. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid. When the cruise ended, they showed up at the dock. My dad in a suit, my mom awkward and quiet. We were wrong, they said. We thought your path was temporary. We see you now. I held my ground. I'm not sure I belong on your cruise anymore. But next year, if you'd like to visit my voyage as guests, you're welcome. In the months that followed, things didn't magically fix. Marcus started asking about my work. Heather and I grew closer. Jasmine sent a quiet apology. Danielle stayed cold. That's okay. It's progress. And then one day, Aunt Ruthie called. I spoke with the family trust lawyer, she said. I've arranged for you to have access to the Chesapeake property every summer so you can host Freedom Voyage forever. And that's exactly what I did. The next summer, as my second Freedom Voyage set sail, my parents visited for one afternoon, just as guests. And they smiled not because I became what they wanted, but because I became someone they finally saw. You ever been excluded by the people who were supposed to love you? Naomi's story reminds us sometimes healing doesn't come from being invited back, and it comes from building your own damn boat. So now I ask you, have you ever had to build your own space just to be seen? Drop a comment, share your story, and if this touched you, like and subscribe. Because there's more where this came from.